saying? Yeah. The fanatic. Well, we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what I
Welcome into the Fan Addict Show for sports fans by sports fan. It's your boy Coach I. And you know I got my guy, the Stat Guy. What's up, Stat Guy?
Hey, what's going on, man? Another good week last week of college football. Looking forward to this SEC matchup right here this week. Woo!
Listen, this is huge, man. Both of these teams are undefeated. That's right, man. I think this is where game day should have been. I don't know if they should have been at the Florida-Tennessee game last week. It could have been Kansas and Duke. Shout out to the Jayhawks out there doing their thing. But this Ole Miss Kentucky game is a 12 noon game on the Grove. I wish it was a night game just as a football fan watching it on TV. But nonetheless, this is good. I think this is where SEC Nation probably will be. You talking about a crucial game, man. I know it's a crossover game, but it still matters as far as the SEC wins and losses. How you feeling, Stat Guy? How excited are you to watch Lane Kiffin go against your boy Mark Stoops, man?
Man, this is going to be we had this one circled. This was part of the reason why we were looking so forward to week 5 this year. Anyway, had this game circled on the calendar. This is going to be a burner. And so I'm really excited. I'm with you. College game day being in Tatertown makes me sick to my stomach. There's no place beautiful than the Grove, man. Being at the Grove would have been amazing. But you know what? It is what it is. We'll have SEC Nation there. But this game, implication-wise, like you said, it's a crossover. But this is all purposes a top 10 matchup. I mean, it is top 15 on paper, but this is big in deciding the pecking order in both the East and the West, potentially to what can happen with either one of these teams after a loss.
That's right, man. Before we go on, man, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that like button for me. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, man, so you can come back for more content. Shout out to one of my subscribers, man, Tyler. Tyler is day one guy. Tyler is always up on it, man. He's an Ole Miss fan. He's not just an Ole Miss fan. He loves college football, and he's always tuning in. Shout out to Tyler, man. Tyler, hey, man, hopefully we get it right, man. I know you'll correct us if we don't. And I know I don't usually drop videos on Sunday, but the upcoming Sunday, October 2nd, make sure you come back to the Fan Act and check out the video that's coming. Got a little something special. It's my birthday, so come on back. Now, let's get into this quickly. Let's talk about what happened last weekend, man. Ole Miss was in a dogfight with Tulsa. And before some of the people watching, man, Stat Guy, just kind of run down what kind of team Tulsa really is, though, because people will look at it and say, why was y'all fighting with Tulsa like that?
Yeah, no, they were in a dogfight with Tulsa, but don't get it twisted. Tulsa coming in that game had the number 1 pass offense in the country. They were averaging about 46 points a game. They do nothing but sling the rock all around the field. Coming into last week, going into, that week, the quarterback already had 1,200 yards passing. I mean, just ridiculous numbers. And so the game was close for a long time. It could have gone either way, but Ole Miss ended up getting a little cushion and was able to pull it out. But I know there's probably some fans down there that are like, this was too close for comfort. Did we overlook them? We're looking forward to Kentucky. And I don't think it's that, man. I just think Tulsa and the offense they run, they're a mismatch nightmare for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it started out where it was a close game. Then Ole Miss kind of took control. And, honestly, I turned away because it was 28-14, yeah, and then I think it was 35-14, and or 28-14, definitely 28-14, and then Tulsa started to show some life. Next thing I know, I'm tuning back in to see if Tulsa can, what they're gonna do in the fourth quarter, trying to pull off the upset. But nevertheless, Ole Miss, when you're trying to be a team trying to win the SEC West and further aspirations, you got to be able to win the close ones, even if it's Tulsa. Like I said, they had number 1 pass offense in the nation anyway, so they came out with the dub. On the other side, it's not like Kentucky had a day at the park either. Kentucky played Northern Illinois and was in Northern Illinois was in it to win it. You know what I'm saying? Like Northern Illinois gave Kentucky all they wanted, and they was able to get after Will Levis a little bit too, man.
And hey, don't get twisted. You know, Northern Illinois, they're all about that Maction, and you know, crazy things happen when you play Maction football. So, they definitely gave them all they wanted, but Kentucky was able to pull it out. You know, I think so much now in the world of college football, we're starting to get back to how people thought of college football back in the BCS era, where it was all about how you win. You need to be beating your non-conference opponents by 50, and I think that there's a lot of parity now in college football, and for these top 10, top 15 teams, a win's a win. Look at how many teams we see week in, week out losing to unranked opponents. So take your win, clean up what you didn't like that you did, and get back in the film room, get back on the practice field, and get ready for Saturday.
That's right. Normally we would only see like, one big upset a season, maybe two. Now it's like literally happen every week, sometimes, multiple times a week. I mean, last week we had MTSU go into Miami and pretty much, like I say, they didn't just win, they dogged them. Not to take shots at Miami, but that's just what it is, man. I mean, there was other teams out there that took losses, even on the group of 5 level. A team like James Madison that just came up to the group of 5, you know what I'm saying? And they went into App State and beat a really good App State team. It's like Georgia struggled with Kent State. I mean, we won by 17, but I mean, like you said, at this point, with NIL, transfer portal, bro, and some of these guys, just choosing to go to lower schools just so they can play early and not have to sit. Like there's a lot, definitely in the regular season, there's a lot of parity in college football, man. But Kentucky, they've been somewhat uncharacteristic of what Mark Stoops liked to do up until this point on offense, because of everybody know that Chris Rodriguez hasn't played. They still had a great win when they went into the swamp and beat Florida without I know Florida just lost to Tennessee, but winning without Chris Rodriguez down in the swamp, that was huge, because even though Kentucky won last year, for the most part in recent memory, Florida's pretty much owned Kentucky. But they do good news, Kentucky fans. As you already know, Chris Rodriguez has been cleared to play for this game. So going into this game, Kentucky's offense has been more pass happy than run happy. And run, something I don't know if I've ever seen under Mark Stoops. They're literally bottom 4 in the SEC as far as rushing yards per game. But like I said, that has a lot to do with Chris Rodriguez being out, the guy that backs up Kavasi Smoke being out. So now they get that workhorse back, and now Smoke can go back to at least in my mind, that change of pace back after, like you said, and when we was talking off camera, Chris Rod beat you up physically, and then Smoke just come in and run right by you. So how do you see the game plan for the Kentucky offense changing against Ole Miss? Because Kentucky's been more pass heavy, and Ole Miss is second in the SEC in sacks with 13. So if they try to keep that same thing up, Ole Miss might be able to get some pressure back there.
Yeah, so, this is looking into this. I mean, Kentucky's only averaging 82 yards a game on the ground. And who would have ever guessed that from a Kentucky team, right? I mean, it feels like Chris Rodriguez gets 100 a game by himself just by stepping out of the locker room. But you know what? You're 4 weeks into the season. I don't know if at Ole Miss is the time to see, hopefully he's 100%. I mean, I'm sure he's been practicing and everything, but practicing and playing games are different. Do you roll the dice and risk completely changing what you've been offensively these last 4 weeks at Ole Miss? And that I don't know. I see them still probably leaning more on the pass than what we're used to from a normal Kentucky team. But obviously, having Chris Rodriguez as your feature back does nothing but helps the offense. He can carry the load a little bit more. And then, like you said, you got Smoke, the change of pace guy, that then can get his touches but be more effective with them because he's not carrying the offense with his touches. So, normally Kentucky, I want to say, sits at like 65-35 on their run to pass. But I could see that being flipped and staying where they've been so far this year, which is sitting at about 65 passing. And I could see them still staying with that game plan this week. slowly working Chris Rodriguez back in. But who knows? I mean, Chris Rodriguez might come out, punch Ole Miss in the mouth on the first drive, and they might throw it out the window and say, here's the ball for 25, 30 times. Go win us a football game. You have great coaches in this game that understand how to win football games. And they do whatever it takes to win football games. And I think that's going to be a huge point.
I think you're right. I can see where you're coming from when I say that, as far as sticking to what you've been, because a lot of times you don't want to mess up something that's working. But something Mark Richt said when Todd Gurley was playing at Georgia, and he came back off of suspension, and he asked to run the kickoff back. And Mark Richt after the game said, if Todd Gurley asked to run the kickoff back, you let him run the kickoff back. So I don't know if Chris Rodriguez, I ain't saying he Todd Gurley, but in Kentucky's program, but him and Benny Snell pretty much is in recent memory been them dogs like that. So I don't know if you keep that dog caged up, man. I think it's gonna be more 50-50 this weekend. I think just what they've developed over time in the passing game with Will Levis, we already knew he was a good quarterback, but they got a lot of good young wide receivers out there. They got T. Robinson, the transfer. They got a couple other dudes, man. Them dudes has got speed too out there on that edge. And I think Chris Rodriguez is just going to make that defense for Ole Miss have to stay that much more assignment sound discipline, because if I'm Mark Stoops, I'm going 50-50. I gotta feed the beast. I can't keep the beast back there just blocking or whatever. I gotta feed the beast, man. I'm not gonna go all six, like you say, 65-35 run, but I'm definitely gonna have a heavy dose of Chris Rodriguez. So on the flip side, what's crazy, like we said, uncharacteristic of Kentucky, they are more pass heavy and in the top 4 in the SEC in passing yards per game. Ole Miss, like everybody thinks Lane Kiffin thinks, wide open offense, throw it over the top, fun and gun, like almost like Spurrier. But just like Spurrier, this year, people don't really realize how many rushing yards Ole Miss leads the SEC in rushing. You know what I'm saying? They got 2 backs. You can speak more to the numbers, man, but Zach Evans and I don't want to mess his name up, so it's Quinshawn Judkins. You know what I'm saying? So talk a little bit about them 2 dudes.
Yeah, I mean, you look at two guys, right? I mean, coming into that Tulsa game last week, they were the only team in college football that had 2 running backs in the same running back room, averaging over 95 yards a game, or that had rushed for over 95 yards every game. And so, I mean, you're looking at almost having 200-yard backs every game. That streak ended last week, but Judkins ended up going for $140. I mean, those two just carry the rock. They have a nose for the end zone, 5 touchdowns and 4 touchdowns respectively. I mean, that's just what they do. And, I think the big question mark coming into this year was going to be, what is Jackson Dart? Can he run an offense? And I think Lane Kiffin has very easily decided, hey, just manage the game for me and give it to my guys and let my workhorses do what they were brought in here to do, and let's get out of here. And so, man, who would have thought that we would be seeing this type of offense from Lane Kiffin, right?
Yeah, but don't forget they got Jonathan Mingo on the outside, so it's not like they can't hit you deep. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean they have the weapons, but they are definitely featuring the run more. And that's a scary thing with Lane Kiffin, because Lane Kiffin's kind of out there, so it makes you wonder, is he showing this just for show, and then come this week or maybe the Alabama week or whatever, do we see nothing but 5 wide and he throws the ball 80 times a game? You just never know with Lane Kiffin, man.
And Kentucky hasn't been they ain't been terrible, but they ain't been great against the run either. Even Northern Illinois was able to get some yards on them. So you coming up facing an Ole Miss offense that can really put 2 guys out there, man. Listen, from take it from me, like, as a Georgia fan, dog, I know what the whole multiple running backs coming at you. Like, you just get fresh legs upon fresh legs upon fresh legs. So if you don't shut that down early, it could get ugly, man. So, hey, it's that time of the show. We got to get these predictions, man. We got to go on record. This is actually one of the harder games that I think got to be the pick. Do you know what the spread is here?
I do. I do not. I want to.
Let's look up the spread between Ole Miss and Kentucky, because I want to pick based on the spread. We're gonna do it a little bit different today, and we're gonna pick based on the spread. So let's see here. Kentucky and Ole Miss playing on the Grove. Chris Rod being big bracket's huge, man. I'm telling you. So let's see. We got some predictions. They got right. Okay, Ole Miss is a 5.5 point favorite. 5.5 point favorite.
I said 6, so I was close. I knew it was right in that area.
So based on the spread, so you either take Ole Miss in the 5.5, or you take Kentucky and to cover the 5.5, and basically, you know, with lose by less than 5. Or less than 5.5, or actually just outright win it.
So Ole Miss is favored.
Yep, Ole Miss is favored. They're giving up 5.5.
Yeah. So without a doubt, go ahead, give me Ole Miss. I'll give away the 5.5. And for all y'all out there in YouTube land, it would not hurt my feelings at all to give up another 8 points on that and give up 13.5. I have Ole Miss winning this game, and winning this game convincingly. I'm taking Ole Miss 31-10.
You know what? You said it earlier, man. You talk about two good coaches. You talking about Lane Kiffin against Mark Stoops, man. And listen, I was real close to a couple of the guys that played at Kentucky, and it's something about what Mark Stoops be selling to them, man. They just had this confidence, man. I think if Chris Rod coming back fully healthy, I see Mark Stoops trying to take the air out of the ball a little bit, especially early, so as to slow this game down a little bit. I know Lane wants to run the ball too. I think they'll be successful running the ball. It's going to be a tight one. I actually think it's going to be low scoring, more low scoring than a typical Lane Kiffin game. I think this is going to be somewhere in the 20s. Give me Kentucky and the points, man. Give me Kentucky in that 5.5. I think Kentucky covers this 5.5, man. I just think this is gonna be like a field goal game or something.
Yeah, but come on, give me a score prediction on it. That's fine that you're taking Kentucky in the 5.5, but you picking them to win, or you picking them to cover?
I'm going with Mark Stoops, man. Sorry, Tyler. I know Tyler gonna get all on me, man. But hey, I'm going with Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops on the road. He gonna pull up. It's gonna be a huge upset, I think, and I'm going 27-24.
Hey, and because of that, you get no love on the Grove. Just remember that.
That's all right, man. There you have it, Ole Miss and Kentucky fans, man. Stat Guy, Coach I, Fan Addy, man. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Get in with your score predictions, man. I know some Ole Miss fans gonna come for me, but I like my Ole Miss fans, man. So don't come for me too hard. We still got a couple more games to preview this week. But my guy Taven watching, you see him down in the bottom corner, number 11. My guy Taven watching, man. Taven, I'm rocking with the Kentucky Wildcats this weekend, man. For the Stat Guy, Coach John, Fan Addy, we out of here.
Got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the Fan Addy, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?